Hi everyone and welcome to Pal to Tech. A few days ago, I did a live stream that was all about how to prevent and avoid burnout. This generated a lot of ideas and I wanted to follow up with a promise that I had made to you. Here it is. Consider this my gift to you. It is a 7-page micro book, I'll call it, on how photographers and other creatives can prevent burnout. It is completely free for you to have, and I will have a link to it in the description down below this video. Now, I'm not going to go over all of the information and detail in this video. However, I would like to mention a few points and then go over the 10 tips for you. Let's get started. There are two kinds of burnout: creative burnout and artistic burnout. And most of you probably fall into the artistic category. That's when you have a creative block or are bored or you just aren't feeling it anymore. Overload burnout, however, is the result of you not managing your self-control more effectively. And I have some strategies in this document. Let's list 10 of them now. Okay, tip number 1 is to recognize your burnout and the difficulties in working in the creative industry. It's hard, or everyone would be doing it, so give yourself a break. It is normal to be burned out. It's a natural part of the creative process, and if you eliminate it altogether, you will have major problems. So I recommend that you embrace the burnout, because I think that one day you will look back and you just might find that your burnout was the best thing that ever happened to your creative journey and led you to some new and amazing discoveries. Tip number 2 is to follow other creators that are like you. Don't just follow the top 1% of the creators. In fact, I would avoid that altogether for now, and I would focus on creators who are roughly in the same level of expertise, skill set, industry, etc. that you are. Dig into their projects and their successes, as well as their mistakes. You'll see that they also too experienced burnout. But more importantly, look at the content that they created after their burnout. Tip number 3 is to stop taking your smartphone into the bathroom with you. Okay, hold on. Now I go more into the why of this here, right? But just know that likes don't pay for your camera gear, insurance, or food. And being with just your thoughts can kickstart new ideas. Shut that fire hose off and make more room for your creative thoughts. Tip number 4 is to focus right in front of you, right there in front of you, and just do something, anything. It's when you feel the most overwhelmed that you need this tip the most. So instead of pulling out your smartphone and consuming other people's content, instead, reach out at arm's length right in front of you. Clean your lenses, cull your photos, organize your gear. Write a single sentence in that screenplay you're working on. Action cures burnout. Take action, even if you're not creating anything, because actually, in fact, you are. You are creating your space and your focus back. My number 5 tip is that motivation is overrated. It's important, yes, but sometimes in your day-to-day work and life, there's just no motivation to be found. Sometimes you still need to create even when you aren't motivated, because that's your job, because you promised your audience, burned out or not. And get this, you would be surprised at actually how much you can do, motivation or not, if you just sit down and do it. Tip number 6 is to avoid sharing your future ideas and goals. I think sharing is overrated. Have you ever been in a situation where you've had such an awesome and excellent idea that you immediately wanted to tell the entire world, right? So you do exactly that. You share your amazing idea, how you're going to do it, what you're going to do, and the excitement all around that. And then what happens? Your brain has released a little bit of dopamine as the likes and the comments start flowing in over the course of the next 60 or so minutes. And then it fades away. And you find that you've actually just lost a bit of motivation because you already received the audience reward before you delivered the content. Instead, let the buildup of wanting to share it with everyone else grow inside you. That will be the motivation and the fire that you need to properly destroy the burnout and get the project done. Then, once it's done, the sharing will be all the more sweeter and awesome. Tip number 7 is to always focus on the next action. Getting your car smog checked is not a good entry for a task list, right? Get car smog checked. Not a good one. However, a better one would be call mechanic to make appointment to get car smog checked. That's the very next action to move the project forward to completion. Okay, for tip number 8, I have a story for you. On August 21st, 2017, I wanted to photograph and see the total eclipse of the sun. Do you remember that, right? Okay, so I brought my cooler with me, I packed my drone, I packed my camera gear. What else? Oh, and my family, okay? And we all set out to drive past Atlanta. Now we're driving down a 10-lane high-speed highway, 5 lanes or so in each direction. We're going very fast. I'm in the extreme left lane, okay? Everything's fine. We're driving along. My wife is sitting next to me in the front seat. My 2 kids are sitting behind me. And suddenly there's traffic up ahead, so we slow down. And finally, we actually come to a stop, and it's a parking lot of cars, and we are about an hour to maybe an hour and a half away from totality, from a complete eclipse. And then everything changed in a half a second. I heard a loud screeching, and I had barely a second to look in the rearview mirror, and the car behind me screeched right into the back of my car, threw us all forward. My wife's seatbelt, she was wearing her seatbelt, she went right into the dashboard. My kids were in the back seat. I was thrown forward as well. I staggered out of the car. I looked back in to make sure my family was okay. I looked at the car behind me, which was an accordion. And then I noticed there was a car behind that car, which was the driver who caused the accident. It turns out that the driver of the third car, the one that hit the car behind me that then hit me, right? Turns out that that driver was posting to Instagram and driving at the same time. Multitasking. I wound up driving my family as the ambulance to the hospital, where we spent the time watching the eclipse from the emergency room. So there's actually a happy ending to this story. I mean, we weren't severely injured, but at the time that they were treating my wife, I was standing in the parking lot with my kids. We were just waiting, right outside the ER. And it turns out that right as the sun was being completely blocked and it was starting to get dark, everybody ran out of the hospital. All the ER people, the doctors, the technicians, in full gear. I mean, like, it was just like they were in the middle of an operation. Oh, wait, then they went running out. So they all came out. I'm looking around. Where's my wife? I asked them, go get my wife. Go get my wife. They went in, they got her, they wheeled her out in the wheelchair, and we all put on the glasses, and we did get to see the remainder of the eclipse. So it wasn't a total loss. So just remember that people who multitask all the time cannot filter out irrelevancy. They can't manage a working memory. They're chronically distracted, and this leads much more quickly to burnout. So don't multitask, and you'll find that you will get more done, and that will prevent burnout. Okay, tip number 9 is very important. Learning to say no. Because saying yes to one thing means saying no to something else. Remember that burnout is usually the result of feeling overwhelmed, which in turn is a result of saying yes to too much stuff. There's a technique to saying no, and I go over it in detail in this document, so be sure to check it out. Tip number 10 is the most important one on this list, and I've actually talked about it before on this channel. And honestly, if you only follow one piece of advice that I give today, make it this one. Bronnie Ware is an Australian hospice nurse who worked with very sick and critically ill people. And they were in the last couple of weeks of their lives. And her job was just to make them feel comfortable at that point. They talked to her and they told her all the things that they wish they could have done in their lives. She noticed that a lot of the same regrets would come up over and over and over again, right? So she made a list of them. And the usual suspects are there. You know, I wish I had spent time with friends, more time with friends. I wish that I had worked less, you know, those kinds of things. But there could only be a number one, the biggest regret people as a whole have when they get to the end of their life. And that is, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself and not the life that others expected of me. Really? Really? This thing is ringing off right now in the middle of my video. Look at this. It's spam call. Look at this. Right in the middle of this. Right when I'm giving the most important piece of advice I've ever given on this channel. You know what? F these notifications. How do I turn them all off? You know what? No more notifications. I'm turning them all off from now on. Never gonna have another notification. If you're watching this video and you know me and you're trying to reach me, not gonna happen. God damn it, where was I? I wished I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. I know this sounds depressing, but now you know this. Living a life true to yourself means following your heart, sometimes maneuvering around the burnout, while at other times blasting through the damn thing. If you're a photographer or a YouTuber, don't be afraid to try new things. You're here because of your choices and how you reacted to events, many of which were not in your control. So remember the big picture here and take back control over your life. Action and control can help reduce you feeling overwhelmed, and that will then help avoid the burnout. Now, go download this document and go forward and create.